Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is John Carissimo. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern time. And today, what we're talking about is especially for the aspiring new agents, the students, really, at this point, where you're currently going through the licensing process, or maybe you have a friend or family member going through the licensing process and it's maybe been a while for you and you forgot what it's like going through this and that's why you're interested. But look, primarily this is about the difference between the class exam and the state exam and how you study, how we recommend that you go through this process in studying for your class and state exam, because yes, you do ultimately have to pass both, but you can't do anything with your state exam until you pass your class exam. And so that order is definitely important. And so what we're going to be talking about today is how to take this into account as you prepare for ultimately both of these exams, but taking this process one step at a time and how you could help prioritize your studying and review to ultimately put yourself in a better position to make little accomplishments that gain momentum into the big accomplishment of passing your exam and launching your real estate career. So we've got a really exciting show for you today. My name is John Carissimo. You're watching Ask the Instructor.
You are watching Ask the Instructor. Absorb the knowledge. Become the expert.
Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is John Carissimo. This show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern time. If you guys like today's topic, today's episode, and you want more videos on maybe exam prep and passing your exam and overcoming this initial process, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, or whichever videos of ours it is that you want to see more of, hit that thumbs up button, because we keep an eye on that, and that's how we give you guys more of what you want, of what is going to help you at whatever point it is you're at in your real estate career. So let us know what it is you need help with, either just by liking the videos or letting us know in the comments, but make sure you're also subscribed. Hit that little bell icon, whether you're watching us on Facebook, YouTube, if you're on our website, just make sure you got your email in there, so that way you don't miss out on any of this content that we push out every single week. We started this show to help our students because we know what goes on in the classroom is limited. One of my favorite quotes, which I honestly don't know who originally made this quote, is training isn't something that you do. Not something that you did, it's something that you do. Completely butchered it on you guys here. So training, it's not something that you did, it's something that you do. Something that you're constantly doing on a recurring day-to-day basis. You got the eraser for that too? Cool. Get the whiteboard set up for you guys here. So we can really go into the details, because what today's topic ultimately is about is studying for your exam. Exams, plural, because there's two. So if you're new to the licensing process, if you're curious what it takes to get your real estate license, it all starts with you enrolling in a pre-licensing course. We offer that pre-licensing course, live stream, classroom, on demand. We have several different formats. Call us if you want more details on what you need to do to get started with your real estate career. But ultimately, this course is designed to teach you everything you need to know to pass your class and state exams. And this course will teach you all of that information. I have with me here a pre-licensing textbook. So this is a pre-licensing textbook, and this is made by one of the larger nationwide publishers here. So most real estate schools in Florida are probably using this book. So it's a pretty similar curriculum that you're going to see that's in here. But here's the thing: if I open up this book, so I'm looking at the index right now. This book is 530 pages long. 530 pages of information in this textbook. I remember when I was going to college, I didn't have textbook this thick for semester-long classes. And yet you could get your real estate license, you could complete this course in as little as 7 days. Yes, we have formats that will actually get you through this in 7 days. Now, how are we able to do that? How are we able to take this much information And number one, not just teach it to you in 7 days or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever the format it is that your class is on, or if you're doing the self-paced version, however long it takes you to progress through this information. So how are we able to have this much information in that amount of time? I mean, again, especially comparing this to a college course or a high school course. I mean, high school, you'd have textbooks like this for an entire year. So now, how are you going to learn this all in a week or 2 weeks or whatever it is that you're doing it? And this is one of the things that I stress at the beginning of every single class I've ever taught. You do not need to know everything in this book. There's a lot of really great information in this book. But breaking down the Florida Real Estate Commission and what their requirements are and ultimately what their objectives are. If the Florida Real Estate Commission wanted you to be absolutely perfect in your preparation, look, do we got a black marker over there? If they wanted you to be perfect in your preparation, not perfect, they would require you to score perfectly on this exam, 100%. That's the reason why you're taking this exam, is to satisfy the Florida Real Estate Commission, to satisfy the laws that exist to protect the public. That's why they're making you go through this process to gain this minimal competence, this minimal understanding. That's what they determine you to have by passing your state exam. So do they expect you to know everything? Absolutely not, because for your class exam, both exams, class and state, are going to be 100 questions. And your class exam, you need a 70% to pass. "70 questions correct out of 100, meaning you can miss 30. Imagine you are out meeting with a client who wants to sell their home, and they ask you how you did on your real estate exam. They're never going to ask you that, by the way. No one cares how you did on your real estate exam, but let's just assume that they did. And you were to tell them that you missed 30 questions on your exam, but you were still able to pass. That kind of sounds a little scary. And look, here's the thing. They don't expect you to be perfect. They don't expect you to know everything. This is a lot of information that's in here, and there's a lot of things that they're going to be potentially testing you on for these exams. Now, the state exam, since today's episode is class versus the state, your state exam, the bar raises a little bit. You need a 75% for the state exam, but it's still just 100 questions. And by the way, did I mention these are multiple choice questions? They're multiple choice questions, so this one you could miss 25. And 25 doesn't sound as bad as 30, but that's still missing 1/4 of the questions on the exam. So even here, this one you could miss almost 1/3 of the questions. This one you could miss 1/4 of the questions on your exam. They aren't expecting you to be perfect. And why I stress this at the beginning of the courses is, if you treat this information you're going to be taking in this book, in this course, as if every word is going to be important, you are very, very, very quickly going to severely overwhelm yourself. And what that does is that chips away at your momentum, that chips away at your progress. It makes you question everything now, because you went from trying to know everything to realize you can't know everything. So now you're trying to figure out what you don't need to know, but you've already memorized so much stuff, and now you've got all that irrelevant information maybe that you're memorizing that's now making it more difficult to remember some of that other information. So that's why it's important from the beginning to understand how this exam is structured. And look, one of the things that we have at Tampa School of Real Estate to help you understand this, if you're already a student of ours, you probably have our Secrets of the Real Estate Exam. We've been running a promo where we've got our Secrets of the Real Estate Exam course, where it goes through all kinds of tips and tricks, so you probably already have that Secrets of the Exam course. If not, give us a call or check out secretsoftheexam.com. This Secrets of the Exam course, it's not any study material. It's not information you need to know to answer questions. It's information that'll help you know how to answer questions, how to understand the questions, how to better understand this process. And this is right out of this curriculum of the secrets of the real estate exam, is that you don't need to know everything. What you want to do is you want to focus on the key points, the most important information. And you want to take this one step at a time. One step at a time. Now, what do I mean when I say one step at a time? Well, here's step number 1. And then here is step number 2. The state exam does not matter until you pass your class exam. Very obvious, and yes, you ultimately will need to pass your state exam, but focusing too much on knowing everything because that might be on your state exam versus something that is a more important topic, because usually the way this works is, so let me break down the Florida Real Estate Commission and their rules regarding the exams, and you can interpret this how you will. So for your class exam, in order for a course to be approved for credit for pre-licensing in the state of Florida, they must submit to the Florida Real Estate Commission 2 versions of the end of course exam. So what they're going to submit is 200 questions. Probably 200 different questions, but maybe even some of those questions get used on both exams in slightly different ways, maybe. So with the class exam, the potential questions are only 200. And the way this works is the Florida Real Estate Commission actually requires these exams to be the same set of questions. So it's not even that it's a rotating bank of questions. There's 100 questions that are for the first exam, 100 questions for the second exam. Now, if you're doing some online version of this, they're probably shuffled and scrambled around. But the questions overall are the same. And so what this does is this creates a very limited amount of information that is necessary to pass the class exam in relation to the entire course. And now, you don't know the exam until you get in front of the exam to take it. Your instructor could give you highlights and tell you to look at this and look at that and focus on this thing, and the study materials might have you focus on things, but you don't really know those exam questions until you actually see them in front of you. And the exam is also application-based, where they're giving you some sort of scenario. So it's not just that you're memorizing the topic, but that you could apply it to a certain scenario. If you guys have already seen our pass first try strategy, this is almost an alternative perspective on why that pass first try strategy is so essential and why it is such a good method for studying and preparing for this exam, because it focuses on these concepts here of taking this one step at a time, focusing on the key points, number 1, and then number 2, being able to apply those. And the way that you want to, again, differentiate this, if maybe your instructor is telling you, hey, this is something that could be on your state exam, all those little extra things here and there, you want to try to prioritize as much as possible. And again, the way this typically works is your class exam, since it is more limited information, and actually no, it's not even that it's more limited information, because even with the state exam has many more than 200 questions, and it's a randomized bank of questions that they're pulling from. Rumor has it there's thousands of questions they're using for the state exam. So the state exam potentially has more topics they're going to question you on, but a good end of course exam should cover a wide variety of topics, and it should simulate the state exam in terms of what percentage comes from what chapter. And so a lot of times the information you're studying for your class exam are the most important topics. So when you're studying those most important topics, that's what prepares you most for the class exam, and then elaborating further into some of those connecting details. Now, what do I mean when I say connecting details? And I'm trying to talk about all these linkages between this leads to that. Well, that's the way our mind works. Our mind is very associative. And this whole course one thing leads to another. There's topics that are recurring themes in multiple chapters. There's certain words that get used and reused. There's certain laws that get referenced multiple times again and again and again. When you see these things come together, that's where you get to understand this more as a whole, rather than just trying to memorize all these random little bits and pieces there. And the more you could bring this together, the easier it'll be for you to pass that exam. And this is all of the larger ideologies and philosophies we have going on behind our Secrets of the Exam course, behind our Pass First Try strategy. So look, if you don't have that Secrets of the Exam course yet, give us a call, 813-333-2676. You might already have it in your account and just not know that you have it. But either way, 813-333-2676. If you're trying to pass your exam, the Secrets of the Real Estate Exam course, again, it's not information you need to study, but it's things designed to help you understand what you're getting yourself into. So this situation doesn't take away and distract you from remembering the information. So whatever tricks they're trying to pull in the question or the way they're wording it or phrasing it, that you understand what they're going to be doing on the exam so you can prepare as you're studying for this here. So our Pass First Try strategy, and now again how this plays into this here. Number one, you got to learn the info. Learn the information. Take the course. You need to take a Florida Real Estate Commission approved pre-licensing course. Certain exemptions apply if you might have a license from another state, or you have a degree in real estate, or maybe if you have a license somewhere and you're in the military. Call us up and we could go over whether or not you actually have to take this course. More than likely you will have to take the course. So let's assume that you do. You take this course, you learn the information. Even if you're exempt, you could actually audit our courses, so that way you could know what you got to study, because even if you're exempt, you probably still have to take your state exam. But this isn't where it ends. Learning is not remembering. And in the process of learning this information, we knowingly have to teach you information that's not going to be important for your exam. Why? Well, even if it's not important for your exam, it's still important that that information be taught. Why? Because the Florida Real Estate Commission says so, number one. But number two, even if it's not important for the exam, it's still an important topic, which is why they included it in the curriculum there. And so we might not cover some of those topics as in depth as some of the more important stuff, but it still gets covered in the course, in the grand scheme of things. So that way, this course will still meet the necessary credit for you to be eligible to take your state exam. But now when it comes time for preparing for the exam, this is where you really want to trim the fat, where you really want to eliminate as much as possible. Because if you try to memorize, again, this entire almost 600 pages in here, good luck to you, because for years, I've been teaching out of this book and various editions of this book, and I still don't have this memorized. I can't tell you exactly where every little detail is in there, and I wouldn't expect you to either. So it's not just about trying to learn everything. What you've got to do is now hone in on the key points and reinforce the key points. I heard a quote the other day, somebody say, I don't know if we'd call it a quote, we'll say it's a quote. But what they had said is, we're no longer in the information age, we're now in the curation age. Now what does it mean to curate? Well, that means to take this massive amount of information that's out there and whittle it down to what's most important, what's most relevant, what's accurate, what's true, what aligns best with what you're trying to accomplish. That's what reinforcing the key points are all about. If you just try to memorize this entire course, you're going to have a very difficult time in doing that. And you're also going to have a difficult time passing the exam because you're not honing in on what's most important. Whereas when you whittle this down to what's most important, and we can help you do that, that's what we help you do. We point out the more important topics as we go through the course. There's study materials. We have our Pass First Try study tools that correspond with all of this Pass First Try strategy here. So yes, you can try to interpret on your own what's important, but why reinvent the wheel? Let us help you understand what are the important things that you need to focus on, and focus on understanding those. Not just memorizing them, but understanding it. Again, you don't need to know everything, but those important key points, you want to focus in on them. And one of the things we recommend for this is our MP3 audio review. I love the MP3 audio review, not just because but I could listen to the sound of my voice on it. So that's not why I love it. I love it for a study tool. I love it for our students because what it does is it allows you to put this studying on autopilot to a certain degree. Now, what do I mean by putting your study on autopilot? Well, all you got to do is pop in your headphones, throw your little ear pods in, put it on in your car, whether you're at the gym, you're driving, walking the dog, whenever it is that you could listen. Try it while you're sleeping. No results guaranteed on if you're trying to listen to it while you're sleeping, but this is a 5-hour review. Why only 5 hours? Shouldn't it be longer than that? No, because what this does, this hones in on the most important key points so you could focus on what's much more important, which is repetition. So you could take these basic key points that are broken down and simplified down and listen to them again and again and again, so that way you memorize these essential key points here. And as you start to memorize those, that's where you'll start to maybe make some of these linkages. That's where things will start to make a little bit more sense. But to find out if they really are making sense, that's where you move on to step number 3, to test your knowledge. And what we recommend to test your knowledge is practice questions. And you can check out questionsimulator.com. QuestionSimulator.com is our exam practice question simulator where we've got over 700 practice questions and detailed explanations for every question as to why it's right or wrong. So this is designed to simulate the exam. We've got it where you could do a 100 question practice exam or you could focus on an individual unit. But the idea here is to focus on the key points, memorize those, focus on understanding what they mean, and then see if you understand what those mean. Apply them in the questions. Test yourself before the exam tests you, because the exam will tell you whether or not you can apply these concepts. So before you do that, test yourself in this simulation. Test yourself with the question simulator so that way you could focus on what topics you need to go back and study. When you get something wrong here, that's a good thing. So you could go back and look at it in the MP3 auto review again, or maybe at that point, in order to make sure you're confident and prepared, because when you get these wrong here, maybe that simple review in the MP3 isn't quite enough to really fill in all the gaps that you might not remember quite as well from the class. And so to help you be confident and prepared that you do know this, that's where we recommend our weekend prep class. In particular, our weekend prep recording. And that's available at weekendpreprecording.com. And the weekend prep recording is a on-demand recording of weekend prep classes. We haven't done weekend prep classes, live ones, in almost a year now. And the reason why is even as we are getting back into doing actual classes, this is such a better, more stress-free way to go about studying and preparing for this exam, because rather than trying to cram this all in into 2 days, which this works really great if you cram it all in 2 days and then go take your exam on the 3rd day, but if you're not able to get an exam appointment on that 3rd day, well, then all this information starts to rush out of you as fast as you crammed it in. And so what's great about the weekend prep recording is we have this recording on demand and broken down by unit where you could pause, fast forward, rewind, slow it down, speed it up, and rewatch as many times as you need to understand, because where the weekend prep recording is going to help you is not just reviewing the basic concepts, but going a little bit deeper to help you understand how those basic concepts are going to be important to the exam. All of these study tools here do not require Florida Real Estate Commission approval. We do not have any parameters we need to meet by the Florida Real Estate Commission. There are certain things like we can't guarantee that you're going to pass your exam and things like that, but otherwise we can focus on what's important. In your pre-licensing course, again, there's certain topics we have to cover, there's certain time we have to spend on certain subjects in order for this course to meet the Florida Real Estate Commission syllabus for you to get credit for your state exam. But now when it comes time to the study tools, and this is why if you've already gotten credit for the course, I don't recommend taking the course a second time if you're feeling like you need to you don't understand stuff. I would rather you go in here and focus on reviewing, using this strategy. And these study tools are going to hone in a lot more than your pre-licensing course does. It's going to focus on, again, what's most important, what's most likely to be on your exam. And if you match up this strategy We have our Pass First Try bundle package, which includes all these study tools with our Secrets of the Exam course. If you match up this strategy with our Secrets of the Exam, you've got yourself a really great combination to make you confident and prepared, so you don't just think you're going to pass your exam, but you actually go in there and pass your exam. Hopefully on the first try. And if you've already taken your exam before, on the next try. Get yourself in there, get yourself feeling confident, getting yourself knowing that you know. And look, even if you've taken the exam before, you're actually in a better position because you've actually seen that exam. You know what it's like. You've smelled it. Even if you're taking the virtual one, you know what it's like being in that moment there. And having already gone through that once just makes you infinitely better prepared the next time that you go in there, just because you've already done this before. You already have an idea of what to expect. So if you put some studying in between whenever it is that you've taken your exam before and taking your exam again, you can pass this. It's not a question of if you'll pass, it's a question of when you'll pass. If you just keep your head down, keep going through this process, keep going through this strategy, and be self-reflective. As you go through this process here, as you knock out these steps here, if you're getting questions wrong, the question simulator, be honest with yourself that you've got to go back and review that more, maybe from the MP3 or the Weekend Prep recording, or maybe just reviewing the highlights in your textbook, or using the flashcards, or any of these things that you might already have. But I would highly recommend you check out our demos that we have of these study tools, because we've put a lot of effort, years of time, into building and refining these study tools to make them the best possible combination to help you prepare to pass your exams. So hopefully that helps you better understand how to prepare and study for your class and state exam. Yes, you ultimately have to do this all, but take it one step at a time, because this can be an overwhelming process, especially if you're trying to make it overwhelming and trying to know everything, trying to rush through this as quickly as possible with as minimal as possible without doing any studying. It's probably going to cost you more time of having to go back and redo things a second time. So get in there, at least review the Secrets of the Exam. Look, some of you guys, maybe pick up information a little bit faster. Others of us, myself included, we've got to focus and review and have that repetition to make sure that we could perform on that exam. Especially this type of exam. The way it's set up, the way it's structured, a lot of times these answers will go against your common sense. That's another one of the things we teach in that Secrets of the Exam course. What's most important isn't how smart you are, it's whether or not you know the material from the course, the important material, the things that we're emphasizing, that, hey, this is the stuff that they're really concerned with at the Florida Real Estate Commission. This is the stuff that they're most likely to test you on because they don't want you to do these things. This is important to them. When you're very in touch and in tune with the Florida Real Estate Commission and their goals and their objectives, their syllabus, it's easy to understand what they think is important. Now, if you're just somebody wanting to start the real estate career, it's not so easy to understand what the Florida Real Estate Commission is important, because a lot of times you might just be going through the course and wondering, why do they want me to know this? Trust me, I've been there. I've had those thoughts myself. But years of studying the Florida Real Estate Commission, watching them, watching how they move, how they move forward, what their goals and objectives are for the future, that paired with past experiences, not just our own experiences here. We've got a lot of instructors, a lot of our staff are licensed as sales associates, brokers, instructors, but then the thousands of students we've helped go through this process as well. So don't try to go it alone. Leverage our expertise that we have to help make this process as simple and easy as possible. Call us up. We're here. We've got advisors standing by to answer any questions you have, to help you jumpstart your real estate career. You know, one of the things you want to do after you're licensed is get into your post-licensing course, because that's where you're going to be able to focus more on the information that's going to help you grow your business rather than just passing your exam. You got to pass your exam first. Again, take this one step at a time. Get your little wins, hit your checkpoints, level up, and keep taking things to the next level and getting to those bigger and bigger goals and objectives. We want to help take you there. We want to help you achieve whatever your real estate goals and dreams are. Give us a call. Let us help you. 813-333-2676. You can check us out online as well at tampaschool.com. Our phone number again is 813-333-2676. That's about all the time we've got for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you on Friday for State of Real Estate.
The most powerful tool to study for your real estate exam is the Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate. We've used our years of experience in preparing students for the Florida Real Estate exam to bring you the most powerful exam study tool available. In the question simulator, you'll be able to go directly to a particular unit so you can focus on the sections where you need the most practice. We have also included the percentages of each unit so you know which units are the most important for your real estate exam. Every question will immediately give you detailed feedback, which is almost always more important than the question or the answer themselves. After completing all the questions in a particular unit, you can go through question by question and review any that you've gotten wrong. You could also print out a report at the end of each quiz. The question simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate is 100% mobile compatible, so you can practice with test questions anywhere you have your phone with you. Enroll now at questionsimulator.com and get ready to pass your exam.